Hey everybody, it's Nancy here from American Pet Professionals. Happy Tuesday and welcome to our first episode of Digging Into the Pet Industry. I'm so excited to have our first guest today so we can dig in and learn more about her business. Every week we're going to have a new guest right here at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and it's going to be on our LinkedIn page and on our American Pet Professionals Facebook page. So wherever you are watching from, I am so excited that you're here and that you are watching. So I wanted to welcome our very first guest, I'm going to say her name wrong, Chinwe Onyeagoro, the CEO and co-founder of PocketSuite.
You
Hey,
got it.
Chinwe.
Hi, Nancy. You got it absolutely right. So
Almost.
great to be connected with you again. Excited to have this discussion.
Yeah, I'm super excited too. Let me just adjust here a little. Okay. So, thank you for being our first guest and for being on Digging Into the Pet Industry. I'm super excited to have you here. So, without further ado, let's dig in, right? So, I love the story and I can't wait for you to share on how you got
Mhm.
started into the pet industry with PocketSuite.
Awesome. I love telling this story, Nancy, because it was a windy road. So I started my career in management consulting. So I worked for some global companies like McKinsey and Company and the Monitor Group. And at some point in every consultant's career, you sort of you get the feedback that, like this is all great advice, but like how do you take it into the market and execute against it? And I really got that itch. And so I started looking around and thinking about my passion. And my passion since I was a very young girl has always been about helping really small businesses solve big problems. And
Wow.
the story I like to tell is as a 7-year old, I would have friends who would come up with ideas like, let's create a lemonade stand. And you'd had someone who'd figure out the sugar mix, and I was always the one writing the business plan for setting up the second lemonade stand on the
Wow.
next block, right? So I was always thinking about growth and how can we make this work. So when I left consulting, I actually started raising money for small businesses and really solopreneurs. And I raised small business loan money. And what I found is that in many cases, folks were actually looking for those dollars, not because they were looking to grow, but because they were just looking to pay the bills. And so I started digging and starting trying to figure out why. Why aren't they being paid by their clients? And what I found was they weren't sending their invoices on time. They weren't
Mm.
requiring folks to pay deposits or buy packages or do things up front that ensure they don't have to wait for payment when they're providing all these great services. I personally had a dog trainer who I worked with who would provide these awesome services and then would send me a bill 90 days later. And I was absolutely anxious to pay her. And she just wouldn't send me the bill. She's like, oh,
Wait. 90 days. Oh my
it
God.
was absolutely crazy. And I felt like I was stalking
Wow.
her to get the invoice because I was like, hey, I want to make sure we're good for our next session. And so for me, I saw firsthand that consumers, particularly consumers that have this long relationship with you, are happy to pay up front. And yet the systems and tools weren't available to make it really easy for pet professionals to build a business that allowed them to like really be an autopilot on things like that.
Wow, that's crazy. 90 days. How are they surviving by not waiting?
They were raising money. They were using their personal credit cards to
Oh
cover
my
their business. And it's just was like, this is not necessary. And so let's just fix the underlying problem. And those that want to raise money for growth, awesome. Raise money for growth.
Wow. So that sparked your interest in how people can get paid, have their invoices and all those type of things done.
Yeah.
And how did that start into the pet industry?
Yeah. So when I saw firsthand what was happening, I started sort of looking at the underlying numbers for the businesses. I looked under the hood and I saw, gosh, fundamentally, a solo service professional is trading their time for money. And that's like a very simple equation. And you can translate that into a tool that really kind of works for you. And so we actually put the first version of the app in the App Store. And we actually put it in there for our home cleaner. We thought, okay, our home cleaner can use this and we can get those bills quickly. Guess what? Guess who our first user was? A
I don't
dog
know.
trainer. A
Oh,
dog
a dog
trainer.
trainer. Okay.
He's like, this makes total sense. I'm using my phone for everything. My clients text message me. And so she said, the thing that is really frustrating for me is I'm using 4 to 5 different tools. I'm using Excel. Yes, for those that are now on Google Sheets, you're kind of thinking, oh, wow, that's a blast from the past. I'm using
Yeah.
Excel to track all my classes and the people who've booked my classes. I'm using my iCalendar to track the appointments, but I don't know who's paid me on those appointments because iCalendar doesn't track that. And then I'm using PayPal to collect
Right.
payments, and none of the systems talk to each other. And so
Yeah.
she was really frustrated, and she said, oh my God, this solves the problem. PocketSuite is a booking system that connects payments and makes that all visible for you, whether you're offering classes, services, or packages and the like.
Wow. So a dog trainer that downloaded the app and became a customer is really what drew you to the pet industry. That's really amazing.
Nancy, we took her out to lunch in San Francisco. We're like, tell us everything. And she just loved, she was like, oh, great, I'm helping to design this
Yeah,
app.
yeah.
We know nothing. Help us, because we just see this from the consumer point of view.
Right.
We really want to solve your problem as a pro and create a delightful experience for your clients.
Wow, that's incredible. So I just wanted to backtrack. I love the story about the lemonade stand and that you were writing the business plan for it.
Notorious,
Man, I wish I
notorious.
knew you when we were kids.
We would have run the world, right,
Right? I
Nancy?
know, I know. And listen, hopefully we're starting to now, right?
Exactly, exactly.
So that's really incredible that a dog trainer, opened your eyes to the pet industry because as the pet industry has grown, as somebody that's been in the industry for over 20 years now and seen the growth and seen the tremendous amount of companies that, kind of discarded the pet industry back in the day, that's what I like to say. They'd be like, oh, they didn't understand it. Now they're all in it, right? Trying to get in.
Totally.
I'm getting those calls all the time. So for somebody that is new to a business owner or running a dog training or pet sitting, tell us a little bit of how PocketSuite works. What does it actually do?
Yeah, so I know many people's eyes or ears may be glazing over, like, oh no, we're going to talk technology. This is going to be complicated. We're going to keep it silly simple because that's how PocketSuite's built. So, what PocketSuite, the sort of magic of PocketSuite is we built it on the phone. And so, we wanted to make it as easy as using your iPhone or your Android phone. If you know how to send a text message, if you know how to make a call, if you know how to check your calendar, you know how to use PocketSuite. So, we
Wow.
built all of the functions, and the navigation is really based on tried and true navigation behavior on your phone. So that's one. Two is all you have to do is go and download PocketSuite from the App Store or Google Play or sign up online. And when you do, you will log into the app with your phone number. And when you do, you will specify your name, your business name, and your industry. Then the magic happens, right? PocketSuite will then auto update. So if you specify, I'm a pet sitter or I'm a dog walker or a dog trainer, the app will auto update the language, the images, and the features will be
Huh.
designed specifically for you. So you will be stepping into the pet sitter edition or the dog trainer
Wow.
edition, and your experience of the app will be the experience of a professional in your industry. And so we will give you this curated view of here are the top services that pet sitters like to offer. Would you like to add in any of them to your account or edit and add your own? Here are the package offerings that they offer. And so you step through, here are some default contracts that pet sitters like to use. Would you like to use these or add your own? So you have this opportunity to get going and transition to a new app or use an app for the first time within 15 minutes. You've got your booking site set up. You can put it on social media, add it to your website, and people can actually start booking, seeing your calendar, paying you, and really giving all of the client intake information that you need, giving it all in one session and making it super easy for you to find it all in one place. So that's the magic of PocketSuite.
That's really amazing. Did you speak with different pet sitters and dog trainers and all that to develop and make sure that, these are the things that an average pet sitter that was running their business can do?
Yeah, so we did 3 things. Our core was really invoicing, messaging, and booking, sort of online booking, your calendar. That was our core. That's where we started. And then we started getting feedback. Hey, can you add a POS charge so I can charge people for products that I sell? Hey, can you add
Oh,
contracts and forms? Because I keep going back and forth via email with folks, and it would be great if they just provide this information when they're booking me. So we got real-time feedback from our pros who were, by the way, in the app every day in the course of a month, and they were using it 5 to 7 times a day.
Wow.
This is how they earn their income. On average, pet professionals are making about $100,000 on PocketSuite, and then depending if they have teams or what have you, you see them up to $1 million.
Wow.
So they were really using it. This was their core contact with their clients and their core source of income. And so we really got a lot of feedback, because this was, this wasn't photo sharing. Like, this is like my business. I'm paying my bills, my mortgage, all of these things,
Yeah.
my kids through school with this tool.
Wow. So refresh my memory, is if I was a pet sitter and I came to you and I was like, "Hey, Chinwe, I want to develop, is it my own like personal looking app, or is it like an account on PocketSuite? How does that work?"
It's a both and. So it is
Okay.
powered by PocketSuite. So you'll see the powered by PocketSuite, but you can customize it all. You can add your logo. And so your booking site has your logo. It can add a hero image, maybe a similar image, like big image like you have on your website. You can really provide these custom branding details, certainly put your address and all of the details that you want clients to have at the ready. And then PocketSuite's really just powering it, both to give your client confidence that like their credit card is secure,
Right.
their history and client information is secure, and so forth. So we really provide that kind of core infrastructure, but it's your brand that's out front.
Okay, that's really cool. So that it works either way for somebody that maybe doesn't have all those brand assets yet, that just wants to get started.
Exactly.
And then if down the road, once they have all those things, it's really cool. So I would say it makes it easier for anybody that has an on-the-go business, a dog trainer, somebody that's pet sitting. You might not be tied to a laptop like the rest of us are most of the time. Yes, we all are using our phones, but can you give me like some specifics on people's feedback that have said, this has been a game changer for our business? Like, can you give me some examples of that?
Yeah. So I would say the top three kind of pieces of feedback we get that are like, this has fundamentally allowed me to focus on, delivering great services for my clients and getting new clients rather than all the admin and the back and forth. The
Right.
first was, right now, I go back and forth with every client about 15 times to get them to schedule their appointment, to get them to complete their intake information and sign their contract, and any other odds and ends of questions they might have. And so think about that 15 times. So if you have 10 clients, 150 interactions. And as smart as I know all of you are, like, it's impossible not to drop the ball on the
Yep.
interactions. And sometimes drop the ball means, hey, you don't actually get that client in the field as quickly. And sometimes drop the ball means they move on to a different pet professional. And so for many, it's been like, oh my gosh, this is an autopilot. All those touches are an autopilot, but they have my personalized touch for how I want those clients to be messaged, when I want them to be messaged, and what their experience will be. So that's been like number one. And then number two is, many say, once I have a client, I'm not doing a great job of nurturing that client relationship. So they may start off and do an initial consult, but maybe on the spot after that consult, they're not yet ready to buy a package or book something. Once they leave my, either my virtual consult or my in-person, I kind of don't follow up with them. I forget and I move on to the next person. But that's someone who spent all of that time invested in learning more about me. The chances that I will convert them to a paying customer is actually much higher than bringing someone new in. And so what happens is you forget to really mine your existing client list and make sure every single person is really getting that follow-up touch, because they may not be ready immediately, but they will be ready at some point. So PocketSuite puts into autopilot these follow-up messages to your clients, not annoying, not spam, but at the appropriate time, if they haven't booked or paid you check back in. Hey, how are you doing? Are you still experiencing, challenges, or you still like to get the benefits of training? I'd love to work with you. Here's my booking site if you'd like to now book an appointment. So it really enables you to ensure that you leave no client, no pet parent behind.
My marketing brain is going crazy as you're talking, because I'm thinking, oh my God, lead capture, the way to follow up with people, all of the things that people get so overwhelmed by. And the fact that it's done on autopilot, that you're capturing that information already. You're going to be the forefront of somebody's mind, because I've been doing this a long time and I'm always like, did you capture their lead? Do you have their information? How can you contact them? And when that feedback is like, oh, I didn't do it yet, or I haven't done that yet, I'm like, ah.
And Nancy, it's a real emotional roller coaster to be a solo professional, right? And so if a client doesn't immediately want to buy, even though you've poured your heart out in that consult, you might just be so hurt that you're like, but guess what? The system will follow up with them. You don't have to go back to that place unless they're ready, but you still have a system working on your behalf. Same thing with following up to collect payments. It's like, hey, that invoice was out there, or maybe they think the price might be too high. That's what it is. And so now your system is standing in front of you and really supporting you when those emotional moments come up.
I love that you said that, because that is so true, right? We are humans after all. A lot of people say it's just business, right? How long have you heard that in being in business? It's just business.
Yeah.
Okay, yes, it's just business, but depending on how that person is feeling, I love that you said that, because it's so true. It's having that person or system, helping and reaching out to those customers. And a lot of times in our brains, we're making up stuff that's going on as to why they didn't hire us. And
Totally.
90% of the time, it's just because the person they forgot, they're busy, they haven't had a chance to follow up, blah, blah, blah. So the fact that you have a system in backing you, supporting you, I think is really incredible. And I think that is a game changer to really help pet professionals that are dealing one-on-one. I know a lot of dog trainers over the years that they stopped being dog trainers because they couldn't deal with the interaction of trying to get more clients. And I'm like, you just have to keep going. You'll find the right person. You'll find the right, people that will come to you. And so I really love that you said that emotional part of that, because a lot of people don't think of that. So thank you for saying that. So are there any, besides those obstacles, are there any other obstacles that you help new clients to be signing up, not customers signing up to hire a dog trainer, but new clients when they're still afraid to switch to time-saving technology?
Yeah. So the thing we impart upon them, it's like, even if you don't value your time that much, right, with those 15 interactions, your clients really are used to using apps like Grubhub and DoorDash, and they're used to tapping, choosing their options and then moving forward and having it be delivered to them. So that's the world we're living in today. And so when their experience with you is not as slick and as simple, it really does create a challenge for that onboarding, and it creates a lot of friction where they may drop out. And so the thing we try to say is, even if you're not personally ready to kind of like give in to, this sort of automation space, just pick one point of friction that you think your clients would really value addressing, whether it's like, just send them the form electronically so they can just kind of fill it out. They don't have to fax it to you and print it and do all of that stuff. Just send it electronically and see how much time that saves you and them. And we just try to ease folks into it, because it is a big change and it's a mindset shift that really you can do in stages. You don't have to, overhaul your whole business at once. But once you start seeing the impact, you start asking, what else can I do? And it really pulls you through. So I really try to ask them to focus on the client's lens and see how they can improve that experience. In the same way, they're constantly iterating and improving their behavioral training, their actual direct services. They're constantly thinking about that client experience. You need to also do it for your onboarding and your offboarding for those clients.
Yeah, and I also think that, for like a pet sitter, right? For example, I did pet sitting eons ago, and I had paper like to fill out the form. And I think for the customer, I think it would be a lot better as well, right? Going, all right, I have this great software with this new person that I met. I can just fill out all of my information. Are they able to also then like update, medical history of their dog or anything like that, that they can give notes to, say, a pet sitter?
Yeah, they can absolutely send their vaccinations. They can send any of the kind of the sort of behavioral history of the dog, preferences, or any other pet that the client is serving or is part of the pet family. So that is fundamentally what makes the difference for clients, is like, I don't have to go anywhere else. Everything you need from me is in this one space. I just complete it and then I'm done.
Yeah, that's incredible. And can the customer hiring a pet sitter, can they download that information?
They can. So you can download the app as a client, and then you'll have your full history with that dog trainer, pet sitter right there, and you can just check and see the status of anything, whether it's how many sessions are left in my package, when's the next class I can book into. It's all there at a touch of a finger. You don't actually have to download the app, because you can always go to their booking site. But if you are really one of those people who wants to just see everything in one place, you don't want to have to scroll through your SMS to kind of see that, or your email, that's the way to go.
That's really incredible. And I'm also thinking, like, you see a lot of the questions of pet parents looking for the mobile dog groomer or looking for this person, that person. And I think that would be a great way, even if they are, aren't, maybe they're not working with that pet sitter anymore just because they have a new, whatever, new pet sitter or something. They could say, hey, this person was really great for our pet rabbit, but we have a pet sitter that does, for dogs or something like
Right.
that. So,
Totally.
yeah.
Totally. They can leave a review, and then also you as a pet professional can recommend folks that are kind of in your crew. Like, hey, we always refer our clients to this particular groomer or this particular trainer, as a pet sitter, because this is the group that we feel really like aligns with our principles.
Wow. And how many pet business professionals would you say have PocketSuite in their arsenal of running their business?
We've had over 5,000 pet
Wow.
professionals who have downloaded and signed up for PocketSuite.
Wow, that's incredible. So you definitely have some legs behind this, and I know you've been around for a while. When did you guys actually launch with that first dog trainer into the pet industry?
Yeah, it's a good question. So we launched in 2016,
Okay.
put it in the App Store, and the rest is history.
Yeah, I would say that's really incredible. So 6 years, congrats on your 6 years.
Thank you. Thanks so much.
From lemonade stands to running running something amazing for the pet industry. I
I
love it.
told you it was
I
a
just
windy road.
Yeah, I just think it's incredible because I think of all the stuff that we didn't have, 10, 15 years ago that we have now that make our lives easier. And even people that have been really, I don't want to use my phone. I don't know how to do that. You see them on their phones, like you said, ordering things, doing the things. So I think that's incredible. All right. So I have some fun questions for you.
Okay.
What piece of advice would you give to somebody that is new starting their own business, whether it's in the pet industry or not?
What It's a great question. So what people are fundamentally buying from you is they are buying a sense of connection and your expertise. And so, as much as you possibly can, share your story and share that expertise. Make sure that every time you're working with a pet parent, you're capturing photos of the work you're doing, that you're capturing
Love that.
videos that you can share. Now, you're going to share that anyway with them as a client so that they can see all the progress you've made. But you can also, if you have a media release and they sign it, you can also share it broadly in social media, and
Yep.
it's just going to resonate for so many more. And that's how to go from the one to the many clients without doing, I'm going to go to the dog park and pass out my business cards everywhere. You can still do that, but your
Yep.
reach is so much broader when you capture that content of what you're already doing.
That's incredible. I love that. Share your story. I think we've been in the share your story era for a couple of years, but there's still a lot of people that are afraid to talk about what their
Totally.
expertise are and all the things that they offer and do. I know that when I'm interviewing people or speaking with a pet professional, I'm like, wait, what? I didn't know you did that. And I'm like, why isn't that like on the forefront of what you're offering? So,
I'm going to be honest with you. There's pretty much no service profession. I can't think of one, whether it's dog training or pet sitting or, again, any number of like fitness training, what have you. There is a lot of shame that clients have or pet parents have when they have to ask for a help to do the things that like they think in their mind they should know how to do. And
right.
so you telling your story actually reduces that anxiety that they're going to be judged and that they're not good enough. And so that is the way you kind of break down those barriers. You're showing your own vulnerability and
Yeah,
the way you think about the work you do and the support you provide in a way that's really inviting. And so think about it that way. We're all carrying so much shame for different things in the world. And if you can connect with someone in a way that helps free them of that shame and really gives them that sense of excitement about how you can help them, it's a game changer.
I agree 100%. I think that I tell people that before I started doing any kind of live video, I worked in TV. I was a TV producer, production court. I would run from my producers. I did not want to be on camera. And now I love doing live video, but that was terrifying for me. So I think we're carrying a lot of unnecessary shame around
Totally.
because
Totally.
the more we connect with each other and the more that you say as a dog trainer, hey, listen, when I first started out, my dog wasn't, or I've had a problem child. Most dog trainers do have problem child dogs that they have adopted because maybe nobody else would adopt them. So tell those stories of those frustrations. And I love that you said that because I just think it's so important to, the more vulnerable you are, the more authentic you are, the more way you put yourself out there and teach that, it'll really help your customers know, like, and trust you. We hear that forever, right? They'll want to work with you more.
Exactly.
Okay,
Exactly.
so what has been your favorite thing about working in the pet industry so far?
Well, first of all, like now that we're in kind of a virtual world where so many of the interactions are via video, what
Yep.
have you, I can't tell you how many pro interactions, pet professional interactions, where their dog jumps on their lap or their cat is like like riding up a
Walking across.
like, and it's just like awesome, and I get to see that like live and center, and it just humanizes us, and it makes it less transactional, and it creates this relationship
100%.
that it's like there's an intimacy when you let someone into your home, and to be able to see your loved ones and not feel shame and feel a sense of like excitement.
Yeah.
This is why I do this work. That is the best part. It just reduces the level of formality and
Yeah.
creates a connection.
I love that because it's so true. And the virtual world has really brought that. No matter if you're in the pet industry or not, you hear dogs barking in the background. You see the cats walking across. We've had Zoom meetings where like multiple cats are like on somebody's laptop, and the
Like,
person is like trying to see over.
invite them
It's
into the meeting. They have something to say. I love it.
it's so funny. It's so funny. I will say, being somebody that was prior to being full time in the pet industry, when I worked at trade shows and TV and all the stuff, even though we had a lot of fun working in TV and it was creative, it was formal when you went to the trade shows and all that. Now
Yes.
in the pet industry, if I'm ever at a trade show that's not pet industry and there's no pets barking in the background or dogs or kittens at a booth, I'm like, God, I'm like, you guys are missing out.
Exactly. Exactly.
It's so true. They definitely humanize us, and they keep us grounded, right? I think they really keep us grounded, pets. I think that you can't have a big ego in the
Yeah,
pet industry, right? Because if you're walking your dog by yourself, you're the one that's, cleaning up the dog.
exactly.
Okay, so what is your non-negotiable daily habit that keeps you grounded? Speaking of being
Oh,
grounded,
wow.
something that you're like, nope, this is my time.
That is really good. So there is this app that I use. It's called Insights, and it's a meditation app. And
Oh,
I'm actually not somebody who has had like a lot of luck with meditation, but what I love about this is you open it and it starts with a quote, and it's just usually like it's like Rumi or like Gandhi, and it's just like a beautiful tried and true quote about just happiness and joy and peace. And then you get to actually listen to gurus from around the world, from
wow.
Nepal to what have you, and it's like 5 minute, 10 minute audios where you can use that to just get in the zone of positivity and the sense of just connectedness in the world. And I love it. And yeah, I'm it's a big thing for me. I have two toddlers, and so just to be able to steal that
Yeah.
little that little 15-20 minutes in the morning and just have that sense of balance and peace that's really cool.
It's so important. A mom of toddlers, you definitely need to take that time, and a CEO running a business. So I get it. I love that. I do like to meditate, but it is a practice, right? Sometimes it's like you're in the zone and then 5,000 thoughts are coming into your head.
Exactly.
So you just have
Exactly.
to try to find that calmness. My favorite is to walk my dog in the woods and shut off
Oh,
my phone.
yay. Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, because I'm just like, I gotta get off the screen, but, that's mine, but I really love that you take that because not a lot of people realize that they need that downtime if it's gonna get you in the right zone, because a lot of things can get you a little crazy running a
Every
business.
day. Yeah, I mean, many of us enter the virtual world before we enter the real world. So we wake up and the first thing we check is our phone, and it's
Yep.
like we haven't even looked outside and just kind of honored the moment before we kinda
Yeah.
get pulled into everything happening in the virtual world.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So that Insight apps, I'll have to check that out. So is there anything that I didn't ask you about PocketSuite that you'd like to add?
I would just say this, as a professional, you're always on a journey. As an independent person, you're always on a journey. So be kind to yourself. You don't have to go from 0 to 60. You can just take that first step forward, and see what it does for you. And it creates the confidence and the sense of assuredness to be able to continue stepping forward. And before you know it, you're pretty far along in that journey, and you can't even remember a time when someone, where you ask people to fax you, something that they had to fill out. You just won't even be able to remember it. And that's how change really happens. It's not a 0 to 60.
Yeah, one step at a time, right? And I think everybody in this society, we are so instantaneous that some things are instantaneous, like PocketSuite, like you're going to be able to do the things, right? But then there's other things that you need to just, like you said, take your time and you'll get there. That's
Yeah.
really wonderful. So, Chinwe, how can people contact you wherever they're watching? And we will put your link into the chat section.
Awesome. Okay. So you can certainly email me at founder@pocketsuite.io. And then you can certainly go to the pocketsuite.io site and tap sign up and just go through that flow. And once you're through it, you can actually put your name, your industry, and experience the edition that's for your industry.
That's amazing. So pocketsuite.io, everybody, check it out. I wish it was around when I was doing pet sitting 20 something years ago. It would have been a game changer for me. But thank you so much for being here and being our first guest on Digging into the Pet Industry. If you're watching, make sure you reach out to Chinwe and if you have additional questions for her. And also, as a show note, our next show will be on Tuesday, March 29th at 2 p.m. And you'll see the last slide to find out who our guest is, because next week I'm going to be at Global Pet Expo. So if you're going to Global, let me know in the comment section as well. Chinwe, thank you again so much for your wisdom and expertise and letting us know a little bit more about PocketSuite. And I hope you have a great rest of your day.
Nancy, it's always a pleasure connecting with you and the American pet professional community.
Awesome, Chinwe. Have a great day.
You too. Bye, everyone.
Bye.